strolled along together. That's as far as I am going to go. Ooh-wee-oo. That's street corner harmony, and that's the best I can offer. But I'll tell you what, I sat down with a fella who's been singing for a number of years, and he's now into his 80s. He's part of the South Shore Men of Harmony. Some great stories. And if you're thinking of sending your loved one a singing Valentine, well, you better get busy, because they're adding them up. It only costs you $60, and it probably has a more lasting effect than flowers. Stay tuned to our next episode of Harbor Interests. Wendell Verrill,
Correct.
a member of the South Shore Men of Harmony.
Correct, so far.
And how old is this organization? How long has this South Shore Men of Harmony been in operation?
We actually just celebrated our 68th installation. And for the first 3 years, we didn't have installation of the board of directors. So we are actually 71 years in existence. We started in Scituate, so technically we're known as a Scituate chapter. But we've been here in the community center here in Hingham for over 30 years. I forget the exact number, but it's well over 30 years.
And roughly how many members comprise the chorus itself?
On the board, we have, on the papers, we carry about 30 men. But some of them are actually in other groups. They're still chartered with us, so they pay their dues through us. But one, for example, in Cape Cod, somebody else up in Lexington, and so there's a few like that. There are also 3 or 4 that aren't active anymore, but still want to participate, want to be part of it by paying the dues and so forth. So we're 30-ish, 30, 35 at most. Active now, about 23. Really active, about 18.
And would you care to share what might be the age range of the membership of the chorus? I don't want to embarrass anybody now.
Old.
Well,
we skew old. We did that. We just try to figure it out. Mostly it's people in 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s.
And 80s. All
I
right.
am myself 81. So that, that's, I never thought I'd still be singing at 81. And so I'm quite happy over that. And we have a couple of other members. One just retired from us, great guy, and he's 89. And the other fellow that is the secretary for the board of directors is 85, I think. So there's a couple others in their 80s. So it skews old. We're desperately looking for younger men at all times, especially ones who can sing high tenor notes. But it's tough to find them, that's for sure.
Now, as a chorus, do you perform as an entire chorus, or do you break down into teams?
We perform almost always as a chorus. Now, we do have in the chorus a quite good quartet called Back in Town, that's the name of it. And let's see, I'm trying to remember the towns they're from. Bridgewater, Brockton, Cohasset, and Canton. So we have four of them, and they do a lot of gigs either on their own or as part of our shows. They're quite good, and we're quite happy to have them. So that's the main quartet. Occasionally, and especially for singing Valentines, we'll just get 4 guys from the groups, different groups, the lead, tenor, baritone, and bass, put them together, see how it sounds, out they go. So it works out well. I mean, they're all songs that we know. They're easy songs, so there's no big pressure or anything. And we just love doing it.
I was going to ask you about how does this come to be where men would come together? What are their backgrounds? What are their walks of life? I'm just curious about that.
Well, starting with the clergy, we have a Catholic.
Yes, you yourself.
We have a Catholic priest, hello, and we have an Episcopalian priest, Marshfield, and we have a rabbi,
Oh, wow.
Canton. All we need, as they say, is an imam, and we'll be all
Yes.
set. We're totally covered. But at any rate,
We're casting for an imam to come out and join the quartet. All
at
right.
any rate, most of the men, I'm trying to think of the different kinds of work. We have 3 or 4 lawyers, a fellow that does floors and things like that. Some of the others is a fellow that was working for Beld in Braintree. I think it's part of he's an electrician, but I think it's that's part of their community thing up there. And different jobs like that, insurance, just whatever, across the board, right across the board.
The songs. Let's talk about the songs.
All right.
Tell me about some of the popular songs. Of course, one of which that immediately comes to mind is, Let Me Call You Sweetheart.
Right.
I assume that's got to be part of the repertoire.
That number, yeah. We open up with that
All
and
right.
then go to a couple of others.
Let me call you sweetheart, I'm in love with you. Let me hear you whisper that you love me too. Keep the love light glowing in your eyes so true. Let me call you sweetheart, I'm in love with. Heart of my heart, I love you. Life would be naught without you. Light of my life, my darling, I love you. I love you. I can forget you never. From you I ne'er can sever. Say you'll be mine forever. I love you truly, truly dear. Life with its sorrow, life with its tear, fades into dreams when I feel you are near. For I love you truly, truly
We do stuff from as far back. Well, I always say from Stephen Foster to the Beatles. But
To the
it's-
Beatles?
We're into at least the 70s. And we go back and do some of the old-timey things as well. There's also some songs, two I can think of immediately, that were made popular by a quartet that had 2 members from Connecticut, 2 from Massachusetts, and the bass was from this chapter. He was with us for 65 years, passed away last year. Great guy, and he was a national champion, international champion in 1980. So with that quartet, his quartet was. So we do try to make it as wide a variety as we can. Try to some upbeat tunes, some regular ballads and so forth. So as I say, we're probably maybe into the 70s, but not much farther beyond. Once you get into rap and even rock and roll, well, we are there.
I bet you could do rap.
We
Which if you found the right song, you can probably
Sooner or
do
later,
rap.
someone
will do it if
make
they
an
haven't.
arrangement. Yeah, well, yeah, they're very good. Of course, we're part of the Barbershop Harmony Society International, and that's 35,000 members international. It's the biggest volunteer singing group in the world. And so a lot of the music comes from them, and the arrangements, barbershop arrangements, come from them. It's the largest music library, I think, in the country. In fact, I'm told, don't know if it's true, but we have a larger, they're in Nashville, and they have a larger music library than the Library of Congress. Now, I'm not sure about that, but that's what they say, and until I'm told not so, I would say that's true. So it's a big outfit, big organization.
Looking at the history of this genre, shall we call it, music genre, barbershop, I used to think of it as like street corner harmony.
That's exactly what it was.
Take me to its genesis. How far back are we talking about?
1938, in, of all places, a barbershop. That's where it got it. And it also has a heavy black influence. And it was just 4 guys that got together and to pass the time when there weren't any customers, or even if there were, they started singing. But it started in 38 and then spread. But the big impetus came in 1955 with the Buffalo Bills in the play Music Man. You recall the play or the movie Music Man?
Yes.
Because they were in the movie as well. There's a section where they do sing barbershop harmony, and that really took off. People found out about it for the first time and said, this is pretty good. When we started in the 60s, early 60s, we got up to 100 members fairly quickly. And then, of course, they began to, go down again, but it was extremely popular. It hit its peak in the early 60s when we started our group. They started our group. I wasn't, of course, even around at the time. But so that's it. It's around a while. It's the biggest organization, as I say, in the world internationally. Here we have one in Cape Cod. We have this one here in Hingham, South Shore. We have one in Lexington, Concord, Fall River, Lowell. They're in different sections. As with many groups like ours that have been around for a long time, it's difficult to find members, although so far we've usually lost about 2 a year, but we gain 2 a year. So new men are coming in all the time. So we're holding our own, just barely holding our own. And we're having a lot of fun while we do it.
Now, you mentioned the 4 parts: lead, baritone, tenor, bass.
Right.
Does that automatically exclude women from being able to try
and
out?
I'm glad you asked, because that's an interesting point. That is an issue that just came up 3 months ago. We have Sweet Adelines. We have a whole women's chorus. I mean, there are women quartets and women chorus that compete as well as the men. And the Sweet Adelines are out in Abington. They're terrific. They have a director. I think she lives in Hull, but they have a director who is excellent. She's just stepping down now. But at any rate, there's a whole women's group. But the big thing is now, will we have mixed quartets and mixed choruses? Will women be able to sing the tenor part, and then take the pressure off that particular section? And that is something, every chapter has to vote on it. And we have to vote on it yet. But I'm gung-ho all for it, because we need more tenors. For some reason, well, they are hard to find, because very few men can sing, like Frankie Valentine or whatever, what's his name?
The high notes, the falsetto voice.
Falsetto voices.
Yes.
But so yeah, we have a big arm of women, and we have starting to basically integrate the choruses and the quartets.
Let's talk about the approaching holiday, Valentine's Day. I mean, you're wearing red for a reason tonight,
I am
right?
wearing red, yes, indeed.
And so this is perhaps one of the busiest times of the year for your chorus and the various teams of quartets.
Yep.
Tell me about the preparation that you're engaged in right now, and that includes, are people starting to place their orders for singing Valentines? And what does that all entail, and how much does it cost?
Well, we do as much publicity as we can, and then people can call me or Ken Cerunian, the director. We have both phone numbers there. And then take the order, And the key first question is, where is the person to whom we're going to sing? That's key, because you're going to have to send people, in many different directions. So we get that. We get what time do they want it, and then we get all the other details, the name of the person, address, and all that. And then I tell them that I will get back to them to either confirm or ask to change slightly the time, depending on how many orders we get. Okay. Then we ask for $60, and that goes to the chapter. This is our primary way to raise money during the year. This is how we get most of our money to buy music and do the other things that we need to do. And so then we get the group, we rehearse, like tonight we'll rehearse, and we'll have 4 men get up and they'll sing the 4 songs, or the 3 songs. And we'll see how it sounds. And the next group will get up and we'll do quartetting, as it's called now, for the next 3 weeks, just to get them tuned to each other and hear each other, and to hear how each different mix of groups sounds, because it might be 2 other guys in the morning from the afternoon. So we have to all be on the same page in terms of inflection and phrasing and all that. And then out we go. Valentine's Day, sometimes the night before, whatever. We all pile into a car. We try to use one car, make it easier, and then head on out and get to the house. Often, at least half the time, the recipient doesn't know we're coming, but somebody else does. So, oh yeah, you have to be here at such a time. So we 4 guys dressed in red with a black jacket, black suits, red jacket. 4 guys walk in, and the person does not know what's going on, and really is surprised. Almost always pleasantly surprised. It can be a house, it can be a restaurant, it can be a bar. The one place, place of work, we've done that many times. The one place I don't recall us ever having sung was in a barbershop. So,
really?
Yeah, for some reason.
Of all
we
places,
haven't in a barbershop.
yeah.
So at any rate, that's how it works. And we give them a rose, a card from the person, pick a photo, either take it then and I'll email it back to them or whatever. There's always photographers around, though, people who know this is going to happen, come with the cameras ready to go. So we're used to that. So it's very enjoyable for us, and it's always very enjoyable for the person that receives it.
Pass me by one summer day, flash those big brown eyes my way, though I wanted you forevermore. Well, baby, I'm not one that gets around, swear my feet stuck to the ground, and though I never did meet you before, I said, hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart, goodbye, heart. I said, sweet Mary Lou, I'm so in love with you. I'm in love with Mary Lou. I knew, Mary Lou, that we'd never part. So hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart, goodbye, heart. Saw your lips, I heard your voice. Believe me, I just had no choice. While voices couldn't make me stay away. Bum, bum, bum. Thought about a moonlit night, arms around you good and tight. That's all easy for me to say. Hey, hey, hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart, goodbye, heart. I said, sweet Mary Lou, I'm so in love with you. I'm in love with Mary Lou. I knew, Mary Lou, we'd never part, we'd never part. So hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart, goodbye, heart. Hello, Mary Lou, I'm in love with you, yes. Hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart. From the start I said, hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart.
Can you recall maybe 1 or 2 examples where maybe things didn't go as expected, didn't go as planned?
Well, I can recall one right off the bat. We got to a business in Quincy and come marching up, and the man was homesick. So he said, okay, let's see what we want to do. We quick called the person, his wife, and said, what do you want us to do? He says, well, he's got a phone. Okay. And she was home with him. So he said, well, just a moment, I'll put him on the phone, and we sang to him over the phone. Of course, the workers were coming from all over the offices. What in the world is this? So we got a big kick out of that, and we enjoyed it very much, and I hope he did. And there was one other, but I can't tell you about it.
Okay.
But that's a story and a half.
All right.
But that was the only one. Very seldom is there any difficulty. Very seldom. Very seldom. So it's usually 100% enjoyable.
With the approaching Valentine's Day, is there a cutoff date? What's the latest point in time that someone can contact you for?
We asked for February 10th. I think it's it's no later than February 10th because we have to get the thing organized. So generally it's February 10th, and people will order for the 13th or the 14th. For 13th in the evening perhaps, and the 14th anytime during the day. We like the daytime ones because a lot of people want the evening, and more daytime ones we get, the easier it is for me to schedule.
Now, being the South Shore Men of Harmony,
Yes, sir.
does that mean that the radius in which one is delivering these singing Valentines is limited within the South Shore towns?
You better believe it. Yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, we just got a call if someone wanted to go to Mass General Hospital. No, we would give that to Concord because they do cover Boston. There was a Boston chapter, but it faded a few years ago. So Concord sometimes comes in and does Boston. So, but we do South Shore. I always say we go from the Ponset River to the Cape Cod Canal, but we don't like to go quite that far. Now we go to Duxbury, we'll go to Plymouth. We'll go some distance. And we're happy to do it, but it's South Shore.
Very nice. How does one try out for to join the group?
If you can sing a happy birthday and stay on pitch, you're practically guaranteed.
That's the test? Really?
Well, it's the first test, yeah. We asked them, we just want them to sing the scale, maybe sing Happy Birthday or some song they know, and see how they are as far as, pitch, tone, and so forth. If it sounds half decent, we'll bring them in, have them sit in with the chorus, and sit next to somebody who will listen carefully to how they're doing. Of course, they don't know the music and everything, so they're usually not doing much. But it's just to get an idea of, in the warm-ups, let's say, in the practice and so forth, how's their pitch. We had one fella, a good guy, still with us. He would always start an octave lower, because he was never used to singing higher. So as a result, we had to educate him to the pitches up here, not down here. Worked out fine. He's been great. Been with us ever since. So that's the deal. Occasionally you'll get someone that really wants to sing and is very enthusiastic, but isn't, there's something wrong. He can't stay on pitch, or the tone is not quite right, and we have to let them know that it probably isn't what you want or what we want. But that seldom happens. By the time they get to the chorus to sit in, we've got a pretty good idea that he can do it. But that's how it is.
In addition to Valentine's Day, singing Valentines,
Yep.
What's the next scheduled event?
After that, it's open season. We don't have anything on the docket until till summertime.
So you do singing birthdays, perhaps?
The quartets will do that. That's they charge a little bit more.
Sure.
But the quartets will do that.
Sort of like a singing telegram, I guess, is what
Right?
they
Yeah.
call it
Yeah.
sometimes. All
We'll
right.
do nursing homes, senior citizen places. We've done. We did a show here for the community center last year, and that did very well. We were quite happy with that, and hopefully we'll do another one in the spring. So then there's 4th of July. Around that time, we usually have something coming up, something patriotic. A standard that we do is the 9/11 thing in Hull. That's for sure. Then we have a whole series of Christmas shows and so forth. So we're in the summer's slow. Spring and summer is kind of slow. People decide going on vacation, so forth. So it's hard to get the group all together. Although we still meet every week. So
Have you ever impromptu harmonized with a duet? Can you think of a song?
we do a thing on Catholic TV called Going My Way. It's a pastor in Hanover. He usually interviews the priest, and then he makes the priest sing. In my case, I harmonized with him. So I've been doing that. We did 6 or 8 shows. Some of them are several years old. I've aged gracefully over the years on that program. But yeah, so I have done harmonizing, yeah.
I ask that only because I have no idea if I can sing.
Uh-huh.
And I'm almost ready to take a chance and sing Happy Birthday and see if you'll cover my tracks with it, you know? I don't know. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear somebody. Happy birthday to you.
We would definitely have to work on you, no?
That was like a tightrope act for sure. That concludes our interview for Harbor Interests. Wendell, Verrill, I really want to thank you. And for those that are listening in, especially if there's an imam out there that is a tenor and wants to come on out and audition.
Right.
And there's a challenge. If there are any young millennials out there that want to get together and do a rap version of Street
That
Corner
would
Harmony,
be interesting.
That would be very
Or if they're doing it on their own and they'd like to try to integrate it into a bigger group, we would love to hear from them. I will say there is an excellent, Hingham has a great music program, Hingham High School. And I was happy to see last year, the Christmas show, there was an octet. Boy, were they good. And you think, good. You know they're going to go off to college, so hopefully after they settle down, they've got a job, they're all settled down, then they start thinking about, hey, how about singing somewhere? That's when we're ready to grab them.